genetics. J1, let's pull out the maps first of all, so that once we start, it's just a flow and we don't stop anymore, we just go through it. Okay. Okay, so I have some maps. Very good. Right. Okay, we'll just leave that open. So we're starting off with the genetics. Genetics start with the J1 haplotype, okay? And it's literally J1 SNP. SNP just means short nucleotide polymorphism. It's another word for the mutations, short mutations that identify where they shut off. Because all of this we know according to scripture is a result of sin. Okay, so that's what causes the dysfunction in the gene. It's how you're literally putting that mark on, just like the mark that you put on Cain. Okay, so this is why I want to really show you what that means. When you say a mutation, what is a mutation? And why is it that a mutation only happens in certain people? You know, because the blonde hair is a deficiency, you know, of copper, right? So if that's the case, why is it that there's certain times when I didn't know about malnutrition, and look at all as a race of people, how malnutrition would become and all of that, we didn't just become blonde all of a sudden. You know, it's a mark that how you put on these people. So no matter what happens, there's always going to be a dysfunction in the gene. Okay, right? But let's just go step by step. Okay, so you don't say, oh yeah, there you go, that's what you think. No, it's not what I think, it's what it is. Okay, you just need to check it out for yourself. Right. SNP mutation. The SNP mutation for this J1 haplotype, right, is M267. That's the mutation. That's the mutation name. Okay. And it says, so most of this you can see them in this distribution of this specific SNP is in Yemen, Arab. You know, we're talking about these are ancient Arabs, not the, and it goes on. I'm gonna just read my notes, you know, but it goes on to even deeper to show that, you know, it's not the white people claiming to be Arabs. Okay, this is what this research is showing clearly, right? Qatar, Sudan, like I said, the ancient Ethiopians were Sudan. So when you see in scriptures about, when you see Ethiopia, speaking about Sudan, okay, the ancient Arabs, right? And then, like as I said, the E1B1 gene, you know, is mostly distributed around the Ethiopians, the people that you see in Ethiopia today. Okay, right. Amhara, AMHARA, from the Ethiopia had the first cases of M368. That's that mutation, right? An SNP. M368 or M367, same thing. It's just different. They use all these different tags. You know, normally, you know, scientists kind of explain something on one side, he gives another name. This is the research we used to do, so that's how they do these things. Okay, right? But it's the same thing, the same mutation. Right, so it says Amhara from Ethiopia. That's a specific part of Ethiopia. Like I said, Ethiopia, not all of them. There's different. That's why we also hold on to tribes. Okay, so from your tribe name, from a place from Africa, if you call my name Unna, they know what family I belong to. Okay, you can trace your tribe from that. That's why they had to strategically remove the names of the slave and give them slave masters' names so that they can never trace their heritage or their identity. Okay, thank the Most High that we can now go through, you know, genealogies and all of that. We can go through, like it says in Ezra, they were searching for their genealogy. Now we can search our genealogy through, you know, DNA and all of these stuff, you know, so you can know who you are and, you know, be proud of who you are, because there is no one race like us on the earth. They know this. In fact, when we go through the book, I'm going to show you how jealous they are of us, you know, to the point where they won't even document stuff about us. They'll go around it, but they will never ever reveal what they need to reveal. You know, they just emphasize on themselves and try to, you know, as much as they can without falsifying certain things when they're teaching their people, so that the people can still have the knowledge, you know, but try to bring themselves to look good at the same time as well. It's kind of actually funny because they fail every time they try to do that. Right, there's no way you can make a mutation look good. A mutation is a mutation. This is what our people used to call leprosy, man. You get me? So that's what you sisters now wearing your blonde weave and your makeup and your, bleaching your skin, wanting to be a leper, wanting to show yourself as someone that has a deficiency. You need to wake up, man. Appreciate your melanin, appreciate who you are. Be proud of who you are, proud of what Ahaya has made you to be. Because when you're proud of yourself, you're proud of Ahaya because he made you in his image and his likeness. That's what you got to realize. Every time you women put on that, those weave-ons and those extensions, while you're extending to what? No, you're digressing. Every time you do that, you're publicly proclaiming that you hate Ahaya. You're publicly declaring that you hate the Most High. You're publicly putting out there that you hate yourself and you hate your whole race and you hate everything that has to do with you. So it's not a slight thing. It's a big thing. Okay? You women need to be shamefaced. Stop wearing those weave-ons, especially you so-called in the truth, quote unquote. How can you be in the truth and you still don't know to snatch that weave off your head? And you still don't know not to put that acid on your head you call relaxer, quote unquote, because that relaxing your scalp. That's the curse that was put in Isaiah 3, where it says the scab on your head. That's why your hair don't grow. You wonder why your hair don't grow. We have a way. There's a reason why our hair is the way it is. Okay, so when I'm going to the soul, I'll deal with that a little bit more. Right. Let's just make sure my computer doesn't go to sleep. Right. So the first cases were found in Amara, in Ethiopia. This is the first case of that J1, gene with the mutation M68. Okay. So when you look into that, that's in a deeper sense, because we're talking about, who was the Prince of Tyre, Phoenicia, Tyre, Sidon, right? This is Canaan, right? But who is the prince of it? As according to Ezekiel 28. Is it Ezekiel 28? The prince of Tyre is Satan himself. Okay, so we know that when it's talking about the first occurrence, but I'm going to show you how the white origin, how the white race came about. We know that Esau was originally Rudy. What does that mean? How is that? How can we identify that today? How is that distinguishable from other white races? Because he talks about Rudy, but then he talks about Gehazi, and he talks about him being white. So that's completely clear, different thing, So what does that mean? Okay, so we're going to deal with that. Modern day Sudan is Ethiopia of old, like I said. I just put that as a note, so I don't forget to bring that note out, but I already brought it out already. Right, the J haplogroup is not Shemitic nor Arabic. When they say Shemitic, right, we're going to identify what that is, because some people say, oh, there you go, we've got it. Esau is J1. No, absolutely not, right? The J haplogroup is not Esau's lineage, it's not Edom. Okay, so we need to identify who Edom is, and I'm going to bring that out nicely for you. But first of all, we just need to establish it's not Shemitic. We know that Edom is Shemitic as well. So when they say Shemitic, they're talking about Edom. They're not even talking about you so-called Negroes. They're not even trying to do they acknowledge that you're Shemitic? No, they don't. You know what I mean? Because all this, you're not in the game. That's how they look. That's how they put it. Because they know once you get in the game, it's a wrap for them. So their whole thing was to cut off Yasharallah from being a nation completely. See that in Psalm chapter 83, verse 1 to 3, 1 to 4. Okay, the whole agenda was to cut off Yasharallah from completely being a nation. Alright, so that's why they will not mention anything that has to do with us. So we don't even in the slightest try to wake up. Right, so it said the J haplogroup is not Shemitic nor Arabic. Okay, none of its subdivisions. So the J haplogroup has different divisions. I'm just going to touch on it very quickly. I won't try to go too intensive. I'll just give you what you need to go check it out for yourself. Okay, because we can dwell on this all. Look at how many minutes we've already taken already, and we haven't even started yet. Right? So this give you enough to go and do your own research. Okay? There's a lot of things I want to cover. This is not all I'm going to do. I'm not going to just do videos on, who the white man is. That's a waste of time for me. You get what I'm saying? So I'm not going to spend endless time trying to, justify who the white man is, or spend time trying to find out other, J haplogroups. And no, we know who we are, E1, B1A. That's done. That's all we need. So when we need to trace ourselves, we need to go into the genealogy to find out who we are. then we can do that. Okay, that's it. So it says the J haplogroup is not Shemitic. So I'm reading my notes, okay? So take notes as well yourself. Nor the Arabic DNA. Okay? None of its subdivisions are Arabians or Shemitic markers. Okay? So and the main two subdivisions are J1 and J2. These are subdivisions of the J haplogroup. J1 and J2. Like I read to you earlier, J1, the main mutation for that was N267. Okay? And then there is another one that's the first case of that came from Ethiopia, from the Amara group, N368. Okay? Right. Like I said, if you have any questions, if I'm going too fast, please just let me know. I know you can't tell me I'm going too fast right now, but let me know next time when you make a video, make it a little bit slower, but from the response from the other video, I feel like it's not too fast. People, your eyes are open and Ruach is teaching you all things, like the anointing teaches you all things. So, my sheep know my voice, and the voice of a stranger don't listen to. If this is the truth, it will resound with you, and you will get on it, and you'll understand it. Okay, because Ruach will explain it to you. But I just need to sow the seed and let Ruach do what she does. Okay. J haplogroup is not the Arabian Peninsula like we see today. When I say Arabian Peninsula, like you see those pale-skinned Arabs, there is no. That's why I'm really touching on the phenotype. So that we don't get fooled. Phenotypes are crucially important because the phenotype shows underlining what's happening in your gene. You can't disconnect both. Okay, and like I showed in the last video, judging according to appearance has absolutely nothing to do with genetics, has absolutely nothing to do with phenotypes, has absolutely nothing to do with your appearance in terms of your physical appearance. Okay, go back to the last videos and watch that and get the breakdown for that. Right, I'm not going into that again. By now, precept must be upon precept. You should be able to precept that already to find out for yourself. Go to Deuteronomy. Right, stop being lazy, man. The J haplogroup is not from the Arabian Peninsula. Okay, very important to see that. Any of this pale skin, including you pale skin Mexicans, you pale skin Tayanos, pale skin Puerto Ricans, we see you. We see you wide and clear now. You're the white man hiding in a black man's suit. Okay, the original, North American Indians, Gad, are the Chatta tribe. Okay, so from the last video I've been able to do a bit more research and I found out it's the Chatta tribe thanks to a sister. She which showed me a video of the black, jet black, and they're still a tribe that still exists till today. They're not all being all wiped out. Okay, so this is the real warriors, not this pale skin, blue-eyed people coming out saying they're Native American Indians. Get out of here, man. All right. We see you white people hiding. You're hiding in the Chinese man's skin. But I'm going to go down and show the distribution, how you distributed yourself all through. That's why the Ottoman Turks, the original Turks, were blonde, blue-eyed. Okay, so when you say Ottoman Turks, this is what they were doing, mixing up the seed. So the Arabs that you see today, nothing to do with the original Arabs. They're Fulanese, the ones that are persecuting us in Nigeria today, so-called nigger area, right? When our people want to get out and form our own nation, Biafra, which has always been a nation, before even, Frederick, came up with Nigeria in 1914, okay? And he signed a contract for 100 years, saying that, but the main thing, what they were trying to do, this is the excuse, because God understands everything's about legislation. Right? So it was during the time of colonization. Let me just give you a brief history because I talk about the Arabs, the Fulanese. So in Nigeria today, you have the Arabs, the Fulanese in the north part of Nigeria, and you have the Hebos and all those associated with the Hebrews, the Igbo tribe in the southeast of Nigeria, which was Biafra. Okay, so the Frederick, right, Lugard, in 1914 brought the north and the south together. The north and the regardless of beliefs, regardless of cultural differences, regardless of political views, regardless of all of that, regardless of even if there was any friction, it was just about bringing the both together so that they can all be united into one It's basically the main reason was colonialism. They needed to be able to say, like Cameroon right now, that was the region where Biafra was. Right? Now they're now called Cameroon. And who's colonized them? The French. So that the French can say, yeah, you know, we own these people here. And then they can say, you know, the North and the South, we own all of these people over here. And the reason why they can't just take just the North, because they need the South because of the oil that's in Bielsa. And that's where we are. So the Northerners agreed completely because they need, because they, remember, whenever it comes to all these things, they don't call us, because they already had, you know, in the Berlin Conference, where all nations came together and said they're going to disconnect us from being our own nation. So they already agreed, signed a treaty for 100 years, that for 100 years we have to be, that nation of Nigeria has to exist together, coexist together. Okay? So since I'm on this topic, let's just deal with it a little bit, you know. So it's basically called the amalgamation contract. Okay? Now, like I said, it was put together by Lugard, but it was actually his wife. It was a journalist, you know, in 1897, right? But the actual contract came in effect in 1914. It says the contract was issued by Britain during the colonization era and aimed at integrating people from the North and the South within 100 years. This contract issued despite, like I said, cultural, religion, economic differences among various ethnic groups. The contract, that's that contract, illegal contract, which they somehow made legal because colonization in the international fair, who's running all that stuff is the white man. So they're calling you, they all agree, and as long as they agree, it's done, right? So they made a contract. You can actually see that in the archive in London. You know, was created by Frederick John Deltry Lugard, the Governor General at the time, you know, of what we know today as modern day Nigeria. You know, the document, opposed by political classes and the media in Lagos, expired in 2014. That's good news to me, man. So Biafra, here we come. Kwame Asharala. This is it. You know, Pharaoh, let my people go. It's time. So the reason why when we tried in 1967, from 1967 to 1997, there was what we called civil war, but there's nothing civil about the war because we've never been a nation. You're forcing people to, you know, live together. I don't want to live with you. We don't like your ways. We don't like your customs. We're Hebrews. We do our own thing. We say Shema Yasharala Hayala Hayana Wahaya Khan. Here, O Yasharala, the Most High power is one. We don't worship Allah. We don't worship any other power. We worship our higher. Okay, even though our people now, they're still lost. You know, they call them Chineke and all of that stuff. But this is where, when we come back to as a nation, we go in and we wake our brothers up so we can call on one power. We can all be one heart, one soul. That's what we say, Ibokwenu. Ibokwenu means, you know, you want to look into the deeper meaning, the breakdown. You're actually speaking that we as a people, you know, we have seen something, we've heard something, and we agree as one to do it. That's how we are. That's what we've always been about, okay? Because we're the Hebrews, right? And Biafra is not limited to just the Hebrews that are in Nigeria right now. Everyone that has that blood in them is a Hebrew. Hebrew just is a corruption of the word Hebrew. Okay, so whether you're in Jamaica, taking a transatlantic slave trade, that's why I said to get that book, Atlas of the Transatlantic Slave Trade. Okay, whether you're a Hebrew, whether you are some tribes of the Yoruba, not all of them, because most of the Yoruba still despise us and hate us too. They call us Omo Igbo, you know, all derogative name. That's the equivalent of calling you a nigger today, over here. You know, so they look down on you, call you Omo Igbo. Because I used to live in the region, I could speak the language Yoruba. You know, they'll curse you to your face and smile while they're cursing you in their language. Does that even look like people that have the same spirit? You know, so not all the Yorubas. You know, they said that's why everyone has tribes. They're set in tribes. Okay. Most of the others are idol worshippers, man. They worship Shango and all those Ifar and all those pagan gods, the gods of the Canaanites, as it says in Psalms 127. Is it 127? I think it's 127. Where it talks about all those the gods of the Canaanites, and that's what our people are getting to, worshiping. No, it's Psalms 106. Psalms 106 verse 35 to 38. Okay, you can read that on your own. Right, so let's carry on with the teaching. Let's not divert too far. So you got that. Now we're back to the J-haplogroup. Okay, stay with me now. Don't lose me. Remember I said it's not linear teaching. As the Spirit leads me, that's how I teach. Right. If you don't like it, turn on the EastEnders. You know, you guys need to gird the loins of your mind. Stop being tired and lazy in your mind. Oh, get straight to the point. There is no point. If you want a point, go to EastEnders. I'm sure there's some points there. Whatever that point is. Right. The origin of the haplogroup, I'll read the last statement I made in my notes. J haplogroup is not from the Arabian Peninsula. That's what we diverted off, you know, showing that, you know, the real Arabs, they are the Fulanese, right? And they're scattered all over, you know, Africa. But we'll go into that as we're reading through my notes, okay? Originally from somewhere between the ancient Near East and Central Asia. There was a diffusion and differentiation of the Y chromosome, haplogroup E and J. So they diffused all through those regions of the Near East and Central Asia. Okay, I'm going to show you maps. I'm going to post maps and you just go through these maps, okay? Right. Y-DNA haplogroup origins, the era of the Neolithic. Pay attention to Neolithic because it keeps coming up. The Neolithic era, it keeps popping up. Okay, so we need to establish what that era is. Okay, Y-DNA haplogroup J origin, the era of the Neolithic, as in Neolithic, carried or diffused into Europe, Central Asia, Pakistan, and India. So, like I said, the two main branches are J1 and J2 of the J haplogroup. J2 diverged into J2A and J2B. Like I said, I'm going to give just a little bit to show you the divergence. Okay, I would have loved to draw kind of like a, you know, a tree, you know, haplogroup, you know, tree, or maybe a matrix. But you know, matrix, no, a tree would look better. But is there really any point? I might just put one in there, you know, as we go along. But you know, just all is just visual, so you can see it at the same time as well. Because I'm reading, you might not be able to picture it properly, right? J2A, J2B subgroups. J2A most frequent haplogroup among Asiatic and Indo-Europeans. Are you taking notes? Asiatic, the J2A. So we have J2A and J2B of the J2 divergence, right? So you have J1, J2 of the J haplogroup. I'm going to deal with J1 afterwards. J2 now. You have J2A, J2B subgroups. J2A, the most frequent haplogroups. Frequency just means how it's distributed, where you see it more in, you know, in what percentage, right? In the Asiatic and Indo-Europeans. J2B now, most frequent haplogroup among South Europeans and Indians. Okay, let's keep on going. So Japhet, that J literally is so prophetic as well. It's just Japhet. They're gonna stay in the, you know, the tents of Shem. That's what the prophecy is. So when you look at it, what's the tents of Shem? When you look at the culture, you know, look at the Indians, look at the Pakistani. They still hold on to our culture. They take our culture upon themselves. You know, they're staying in the tent of Yasharallah. They're not going by the Western ways of doing things or whatever. Okay, so that's